Hey guys, Ray with PhoneArena here, doing a video review of the Samsung Galaxy S3 Mini, which is obviously a mini version of the Galaxy S3, the hit Android smartphone. And let me bring it here really quickly. So here's the size difference between the two devices, Galaxy S3 Mini, Galaxy S3. So the Mini, as you can see, is quite smaller, and of course the idea behind this is that with this device here, Samsung wants a new competitor in the mid-range segment of the market, because not everyone wants a giant phone with a giant screen, and for the mainstream market this is still what works best. Relatively compact smartphone with a 4-inch display and a lot of good features. So let's delve a bit deeper in this handset and see where it excels and does it have any major drawbacks. So let's get going. In terms of design, the Galaxy S3 Mini features pretty much the same design language as what we've seen in the Galaxy S3, but there's a small difference here, and of course there is some difference with the arrangement here of the speaker here, the LED flash, but what's more important is that Samsung has taken the home key here, menu and back as well, and it has brought them a bit upwards here, and they're now sit more in the center of this area, of this space here beneath the screen, giving the Galaxy S3 a much more appealing look. Of course, the fact that it's also smaller now and more compact contributes to its more cute form factor as well. Other than that, the handset is quite elegant, we should say, and especially in this white variant, it actually seems like a perfect phone for women. Now, it's still entirely made of plastic, which of course we're not very big fans of, but still we're glad that Samsung has used this more or less standard type of glossy, smooth plastic, which we kind of like, and actually some of us prefer it when compared to the soft touch, the soft touch matte coatings used by companies like HTC, for example. So it's a nice, it's not a little phone because it still has a 4-inch screen, but it's relatively smaller compared to the high-end devices out there, and it fits easy in the hand, it feels very nice in the hand, and the best thing about this form factor and the 4-inch display of the Galaxy S3 Mini is that you can easily use the device with one hand only, and you can very easily reach pretty much every corner of the display, which makes the handset a joy to be used. Some may not like that the 4-inch display of the Galaxy S3 Mini features a wide VGA resolution, which is 480 pixels by 800 pixels. Now, of course, this is not as impressive as the HD resolutions that we've gotten used to today, but we have to take into account the 4-inch screen size. So yes, the resolution is lower, but the screen size is also smaller, which means that the pixel density, or what is important for the crispness, for the clearness of the image, is that the pixel density is actually not that low, and it's still pretty easy to read text on the display. It's not perfectly smooth, it's not a retina display, but still the clarity is pretty decent, and we had absolutely no trouble reading whatever we wanted on this display. The screen is also a Super AMOLED one, which means it has Samsung's signature display technology. So what this means for you is that you get some very saturated colors, very vivid ones, and the contrast levels are also quite high. and it's not the most natural looking display out there, but it's still very vivid and fairly bright, so overall it's a joy to behold. In our opinion, the 4-inch screen size is big enough for most standard tasks that you might be doing on your smartphone, including phone calling, using the device as an organizer, messaging, occasional web browsing, and even gaming. We don't think that it's going to feel small. But if you're a very hardcore geek of a user, we think that you'll probably be better off with something a little bit bigger, like the Galaxy S3 here, because seeing that you'll be looking at this display, at the display of your smartphone for such a long time, if you're such a hardcore user, you need as big a screen as possible. But in most cases, for regular users, the screen size seems perfectly fine. One of the best things about the Galaxy S3 Mini is that it comes straight with Android 4.1 Jelly Bean out of the box, which is great because this means that it has Project Butter and a lot of new added features and other optimizations done to the software. Of course, on top of that, we have Samsung's custom TouchWiz user interface, and thankfully it's in its latest version, the Nature UX. So it is called. So this is actually the first TouchWiz that we really like, because it looks pretty decently. It has a very smooth performance, very nice. The icons and the other graphical elements have been reworked from previous versions of this software, so they now look a lot better. And overall, it's an interface filled with a lot of animations and small transitions, which make the user experience quite pleasant. Another great thing about this device is that it also features some pretty decent goodies also found in the Galaxy S3, such as Smart Stay, Pop-up Play, S-Beam, and so on, and many other features that you probably never use. But anyways, it's good to have them right here on the phone. The interface itself is nothing really new. These are the contacts here. This is how the contact screen looks. So pretty much your standard affair. Now typing with the on-screen QWERTY keyboard, at least with the built-in one, could be a bit more comfortable in portrait mode. In portrait mode, the keys do seem to be a little smaller than what we would like. They could actually be made a bit bigger, or at least a bit higher, making them somewhat easier to press. But anyway, once you turn the handset in landscape orientation, things get much easier typing on the Galaxy S3 Mini. Other messaging features, of course, include the awesome Gmail application, which comes with Android 4.1 and also Samsung's own chat-on service. Web browsing with the Galaxy S3 Mini is a joy. Its processor and its hardware and software optimizations allow it to run very smoothly. As you can see, we have almost no lag here in the web browser. We have perfectly smooth scrolling up and down, pinch zooming. The handset is quick to render the text. We can use double tap zooming, no problem here. It's an interesting thing that Samsung has decided to stick with the stock ice cream sandwich web browser. Of course, it's not really the stock ice cream sandwich web browser, because Samsung usually likes to upgrade it a bit. It adds some features like this tabbed view here, which I don't really like to use, but they are usually making the Android browser a better thing. And we can see why they decided to stick with this one instead of making Google Chrome the default browser, which is actually the default browser for Jelly Bean, because in our opinion, this web browser here is still slightly faster. It performs a bit better than Google's Chrome for Android, and probably it's a matter of time until Chrome becomes just as good and even better. But for the time being, we can understand actually why Samsung wanted to stay with this slightly more straightforward and better performing web browser. Sadly, there is no trace of Flash here, no more Flash content for you, and since it isn't also available on the Play Store, you'll have to find it somewhere else. And then sideload it to the phone if you want to try to run Flash on this device. It should work, but yeah, if you just want to stick to the stock experience, Flash is not something that you're going to get. Also, it's worth noting that the Galaxy S3 Mini does not feature any kind of 4G connectivity, no LTE, no ultra-fast HSPA connectivity, but still it has pretty speedy 3G. Its download speed max out at 14.1 megabits per second and about 5.76 megabits up. So it's still pretty decent. As long as you have good coverage, you should be okay to use the internet connection. You know, if various applications require internet access or such kind of stuff, you probably won't be very good if you want to upload videos with this kind of connectivity, but it should be good enough for most use cases. The Galaxy S3 Mini actually has a very good camera. It's only 5 megapixels, but as you all know, megapixels aren't really important, especially in cell phones. What is important though is the type of the sensor which has been used, and Samsung traditionally uses very decent, more than decent, actually very often they're excellent image sensors, and we feel that the one in the Galaxy S3 Mini is not an exception. Well, the images aren't really sharp. They do not have these vivid details, bright colors, but they're actually nicely detailed. They're not blurred or muddy, you know. They're still pretty decent, and we like the softness of this device because it makes for a more natural looking image, and in the meantime it gets rid of noise. So there are very noise-free images that you can make with the Galaxy S3 Mini, and still the details appear very pleasing. So yeah, that's what you get with the Galaxy S3 Mini. Kind of a soft-looking images, but still nicely detailed, and you also get some realistic colors. So overall, pretty decent job by this 5 megapixel camera here. In addition, the same thing goes for the indoor photos. This is actually a pretty decent performer when it comes to indoor photography because, as we said, this softness continues when you shoot images indoors, which does not allow for too much noise to appear in the image. And meanwhile, it manages to capture enough light in order to, to reveal enough of the image. And the LED flash on the back of the device actually makes a pretty decent job of illuminating at least a small room. When you're shooting in low-lit locations indoors and you're using the LED flash, you actually have a chance of getting some very good shots because the flash is good enough to illuminate the space, and the image overall comes fairly sharp, noise-free, and nicely colored. So very good job here. We were nicely surprised. The handset records 720p video, which is still HD, but not the full HD thing. Anyways, we were not really impressed by this video because it was very smooth. It achieves stable 30 FPS, so it's very smooth, but the details are somewhat unclear, and overall the video lacks any kind of wow factor. The music player is your standard TouchWiz affair. The filtering options here are on the top of the screen in the form of these tabs. You can filter by artists, albums, playlist, or just view all of the songs you have. And you also get this music square feature, which lets you just select your mood, and the handset will automatically, or will try to automatically pick the right songs for your current mood. There are also a bunch of equalizer presets, and if you don't like how any of them sounds, you can even set up your custom one. The Galaxy S3 Mini can play almost every video file in case you install some capable third-party video player. Otherwise, you might run into some troubles with certain file types or codecs. Now, as we said in the beginning, the display is a Super AMOLED one, so it's great for multimedia purposes because of its vivid and very saturated colors. It also has great contrast, so very pleasing display to look at here. But of course, its 4-inch size makes it somewhat impractical if you want to watch full-length movies on it. But you know, for music videos or trailers or random clips or just short videos or YouTube, it's pretty decent. We think 4-inch this 4-inch display will do the job just fine. But of course, if video watching is among the main things that you're doing on your mobile device, it's probably worth it to look for some bigger screened smartphone out there. The earpiece of the Galaxy S3 Mini is marvelous. We really enjoyed talking to our callers and of course listening to them using the Galaxy S3 Mini because they sounded loud and clear and everything was great. On the other hand though, the microphone is still pretty decent, but not really as good as the earpiece here because there were no problems for our callers understanding us and what we wanted to say, but we simply didn't sound as good as they sounded to us. Overall, we quite like the Galaxy S3 Mini because there simply aren't any major drawbacks to it. It's a good-looking, elegant device with a sizable 4-inch screen with great characteristics, very pleasing, smooth performance. What else? A pretty decent camera, good call quality, decent battery life, so no major problems with this device whatsoever. Quite the contrary, it performs admirably in a lot of areas. So that is why we believe that Samsung actually has a winner in the mid-range space with this device, the Galaxy S3 Mini. So that was our review of the Galaxy S3 Mini. We hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.